Welcome, everyone. First thing I'm going to say is Happy New Year
Happy
to
New
everybody.
Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy
It's
New
a
Year,
brand new
yes.
year, and here to help, our goal is to make sure that we are delivering more than what we did last year. And the only way to do this, of course, people, is to make sure that you comment, like, and share the video, please, so that other people can see what we are doing. It may not necessarily benefit you, but it could benefit somebody else. So we've got to remember that. So I want to say that quickly before I introduce who's in studio with me today. You guys already know the hostess with the mostest. Okay.
Yes, yourself.
His name is...
No, I cannot be a hostess. You alone is the hostess. I
is the host.
is a host.
Sorry, I thought you knew
So
that.
we'll like to wheel and come again?
the host with the most.
See it there now. She get it. Even if I mind on the back of smile, so yeah, man, she get it.
The one, DJ Dave Rankin. You see it?
Alongside the Danette, some more Jennifer Smith.
Not Smith, because we don't do that. We smell it completely differently. And of course, now you guys thought you had enough of her. Like, we had to bring her back because we don't get her very often. She's about to leave us in a week or so and head back down because she's heading south to Windsor. So while she's here, we thought we better just get all we can out of her. I'd like to
That's right.
reintroduce the great, wonderful, magnificent,
Oh my God.
voluptuous, eloquent. Is that a word?
Eloquent.
A holy
Say
adjective
it.
that, you know. Holy. She
I'm
got
good-
holy.
I'm good for adjective. Intelligent, legal-minded,
I'm blushing.
Brittney Channer.
Hi, guys.
Big up yourself.
Yes, travelers.
Hi.
And, travelers.
She
Brittney
soon travel again, yeah?
Yes.
So today, last time we were here, which was on Friday, Brittney, we were able to talk about your growth. And one thing I will say, Nathan Baya, big up yourself. Young people like him are very motivated by your story.
He is.
Okay?
He is.
He's like your biggest fan. Big up yourself, Nathan.
I love Nathan Baya.
Brother Baya. Boy,
Baya,
boy.
are
I
you?
love him. I
Big up
love
yourselves.
Nathan Baya.
But it's good to see people or youth like him react to you, because that's exactly what we wanted. We want people to understand that their only limits that you have are the ones you create for yourself.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm going to call you out, but you know what? It still happens because you're still learning. Today, we were speaking, and Brittney, I'm calling you out, Brittney. Brittney was like, you know what, Simone, I'm going to have to find some place less expensive to live. I said, no, you need to find yourself someplace more expensive to live, because that means you're going to be aiming higher. You're going to be wanting to make more. If you aim for lower, you're not going to push yourself. And she was like, yeah, you're right, Simone, I get it. I see what you're trying to say. So we're all in that learning and growth process, yes?
Yes.
She didn't want me to call her out, but I don't care. This is my job. This is what big sisters do. They call out little sister when they make idiot comments like that. So, Britt, I'm going to have you take the floor today. This is going to be a lot more you. Of course, behind the scenes, we have our engineer. What matches with engineer?
Sorry.
Engineer with the gear. Jordan.
Who
That
can
was
hear?
wicked. Who can hear? Jordan's back there, number 23, doing his thing. Okay? And I smelled chicken wings.
I smelled that too. I was like,
Is it all in my head? They
It's an
smell
illusion.
so good.
It's
Oh
an
my
illusion.
goodness, my stomach is so. So today we're going to have. I'm going to teeth one of them wings on the break. Today we're going to have Miss Brittney go into a little bit more about our social conditions. We didn't have a chance to break into this because we got caught up in your story last week.
yeah.
So today, beginning of the year, let's show people what the conditions are. Again, for us, we want to educate by letting people see what it is, and by teaching them some of the things that they may not hear on a daily basis. So
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay.
I'm sure Dave's going to have questions.
Yeah.
No, I'm the bystander today.
You're a bystander today?
Well, if you have questions, feel free to interject.
And I'm going to
Okay,
have
cool.
questions.
Yeah.
And of course, you'll be able to, we'll be putting up some definitions for you and everything, guys. We have definitions, we have pictures, so you have an idea of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So for now, let me just turn over to Miss Brittney Channer. Channer, tell us why you wanted to talk about this today.
Because I'm very theory based, and based on what I discussed last Friday, you know, we didn't get a chance to get into the meat and potatoes of things, but
No.
I like theory as much as it's so hard and very annoying to
wrap
study
your mind around.
and
Absolutely.
to study as well, because you know there's so many individuals who have theories based off of different things, right? But they're not necessarily correct and they're not necessarily incorrect, but they give you an idea as to how to understand the world around you, how you can apply certain things to the community that you live in. And I
Okay.
think and like I said, I love criminal law. I love learning about different criminal theories or different criminal elements that I can usually apply to the community that I live in, or the community in general, or in society, and see how accurate these theories were. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So interesting. You say, and I know, because I want you to go into more details.
Yeah.
You say you study the criminal. Why did you choose criminal?
Because I feel like that's one portion of the law that we are held back by.
Okay.
And we as a community are held back by, because we don't understand it, nor do we want to understand it.
When we should.
And it's very tedious. And that's why a lot of people don't want to open a criminal code or see what the rules of this nation are. But if you have an individual or a teacher, a professor, a mentor who can take something that's so tedious to read at times and to just break it down for you, it makes it a lot more simpler. And I think for me, I had to create ways to really break down such very
dense and
dense,
like,
there
yeah,
we go,
material.
dense material, and find ways how I can apply them to the society that I live in. And I think it
True.
makes it a lot easier. But one of the theories that I really like to apply, because we work in the community, was called the social disorganization theory.
Okay.
We have a
So yeah,
definition.
you mentioned that briefly last week.
Yes, so I'm gonna quickly go over it today. And we see here the social disorganization
You're not-
theory. Big up yourself.
Oh.
What is crime? Basically, the main premise is that the crime is not a result of the person per se, but the neighborhood an individual belongs to. So a lot of people like to point the finger and say, you know what, Simone, the reason why this community is bad because of you. You are intentionally bad. You are bad-minded. You have when you go outside of your house, or when you leave your neighborhood, or when you just go out into the world, you have the intentions of committing wrong. But this theory basically states it's not about the person. It's more so about the community that the individual lives in. So because that community or that neighborhood is disorganized, then it creates a more likelihood for an individual to want to participate in illicit criminal behavior, right?
Okay. Can you give us some examples of that in Toronto?
Okay, so a lot of this you'll see in neighborhoods that many people find is dilapidated. The word dilapidated.
We'll look it up.
Okay, yes. Just,
Dave, look that word
It
up.
sounds good.
okay, but words
Dilapidated.
but neighborhoods that you know the society or even the media see as at risk. You know what they look like. You know what many people consider a bad neighborhood or a poverty-stricken neighborhood. There's certain signs that you look for. So obviously the famous one that everybody loves to use is the good old Jane and Finch, right? Even though I love that community, I
Yep.
love the people within it, but
Yep.
there's a lot of people who don't understand the community, have never set foot in the community or in that community, and specifically want to target Jane and Finch because it's been the place to target for years.
It's an intersection, guys.
Absolutely. It's just two streets that merge together, but it's okay.
There's a gas station, 2 gas stations corner.
There's a gym now. Like, come on, guys.
There's a Planet Fitness there now.
and a Fit for Less. So like,
And a Fit for Less.
so
but
anyways, so if we're trying to apply that to Jane and Finch, we're gonna say that the reason why Jane and Finch is so crime stricken is not because of the people in the neighborhood.
But
It's because the neighborhood itself provides means for people to come out of their houses and want to commit crime. It's not about the person, right? So this theory is linked towards the characteristics, the ecological characteristics that a neighborhood provides.
you know what? I can see that. And Dave, you can tell me if I'm wrong. The whole idea of a project,
Right.
right?
Right.
When a project was actually created for exactly what it is. It was a project
Right.
by the government. They did a project. They legit put a certain group of people in a certain area, and they controlled the conditions, the home and the house conditions, the availabilities to services conditions. everything was kind of, and we're going to go into more detail when we do come back, but that idea of a project, I guess, correlates very much with this.
Absolutely.
With this
Absolutely.
theory. So we're going to go into detail when we get back. And again, any questions you guys have, please, or any thoughts, give us a little link, send a little comment, and we'll get back to you. We'll be right back.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
So we are back, and we are with the lovely Brittney Channer. We just finished discussing the social disorganization theory, which says that it's not the person who is bad, but the neighborhood that they were grown up in that makes them
more inclined
to do
crime.
to commit crime.
Yeah.
That's right. 'Cause we're talking more about the crime aspect.
Right.
So because the community or the neighborhood or the residential location is disorganized, the individual is therefore more
Disorganized.
exactly more in tune to commit crime.
And we just started talking about the idea of projects. And Mr. Rankin, what are your thoughts on the social disorganization theory?
You know, as I was thinking about it, especially over the break, it made me now wonder, and maybe you came across this in some of your studies, why don't the people just go ahead and take those heads of state, in this case, the municipalities, the MPs, to court for the lack of resources, which are communities such as those which they deem at risk, to court.
Absolutely.
That's just of course, that's probably another subject, another question for another time, right?
Okay.
But
Can I just add, can I say something to that? You're asking why. Can I answer that?
why don't they? Yes.
Why don't they?
Uh-huh.
I just really believe that some people don't even realize what condition they're living in.
Absolutely.
Really and truly. I just think they've gotten used to it.
Yep, they're
Why
comfortable.
they're comfortable.
When you have to understand, taking someone to court,
It's
and putting on the government, that's a tedious job.
They don't know no laws like that.
And the first rule of taking someone to court that I've learned when I was in college, learning about personal injury or whatever. Sorry.
All right. Run with it.
But they said the first rule of taking someone to court is like you have to have money, right? Why sue? You can't sue without money. So just imagine, and that's why a lot of people refrain from taking someone to court. They just want to settle matters, And
I could feel them looking at the system as being way bigger than them, Dave. So this is probably why a lot of them don't feel like they have the support.
Yeah, and they already feel
Right?
defeated from the government. They already feel defeated based on their conditions. So it's just like, why are you going to go that extra mile?
Why bother? Does
That's
that make
actually a
any
good
sense?
question, though.
That's why a theory like this needs to be introduced,
Absolutely.
right? And defined and clarified, so more and more of our people understand it, right? Because of course the strength is in numbers. Now,
Yes.
who knows what the demographic in regards to the population that lives in, say, now Rexdale or a Jane and Finch area, right? You now have grounds for some sort of class action suits, right?
Yeah. Can you throw up that picture of us for social disorganization? There's actually like a little picture, Jordan, of an area. It's the streets, like just how that would look to
But
most
that's how they
people.
would classify it.
There it is.
Right. So, for instance, now a building now, of course, which is run down, right? Which doesn't have all the great conditions that a building should need, like of course like heat, proper water, so on and so forth, right? Now, the tenants of that building now, of course, have every right to go ahead, right, and management, super, so on and so forth, to bring them to court. Now, if we're looking at, of course, now our whole neighborhood, right, a community of people, of course, which has now been crime-riddled, crime-infested because, of course, of the lack of the social skills, social conditions,
proper resources.
There we go, right? The social disorganization theory now becomes, of course, a mainstay in their argument.
What?
Yeah.
Go on with it, girl.
Absolutely, yes, that was
You
perfect.
blew that
That
out,
was
Dave.
perfect.
That's why you need to talk more.
Talk the people to the
Talk
people
the
that-
talks, Div.
But once again, we have the legal advisor here who's going and presenting these things, so we can go
See,
ahead
this is
now.
what Dave does, though. Dave does this whole, he plays this whole, quiet card.
And then he just drops.
Then drops knowledge and backs away oh, well,
Yeah. I mean, people look at this theory as just more so a residential housing type of construct. But it doesn't really it's not really directed to where that person lives. That's just a little part of it. It can be, the lack of resources in that neighborhood. Are there sufficient schools required to educate, individuals to deter them from, criminality? Are there active, community centers where they have an environment where they can learn, do their homework, where they can, stay away from the streets, according to people, but just, have a distraction to focus on bettering themselves, right? So it's not usually focused on the actual residential location itself, but more so because of the lack of these important resources.
Okay.
That's what makes this neighborhood disorganized.
Got
right?
it.
So think
All
about
right.
what makes it a neighborhood disorganized.
Got that, people? Social disorganization theory. Okay, we even gave you the definition.
Absolutely.
So let's move to the next one.
The next theory is a very popular one of mine. I really enjoy it because I think I've seen how it's, played a role in my life. Like I said, these are theories. They're neither correct or incorrect, but it changes your way and it gives you an idea as to how to look at the world around you, the society around you.
Gives you context.
It's known as the labeling theory.
Oh, this one, yeah.
Okay.
One of my favorites. I think a lot of high school students are maybe grade 11, 12, maybe even
Start learning this.
Start learning in little bits. But the labeling theory is based off the premise that those who commit crime because that individual is becoming what he or she has been labeled or what others expect him or her to become.
All right.
So in other words, I don't know if you've had situations growing up where the teacher always referred to you as a troublemaker. You know what? You're a troublemaker. All you do is create trouble. You distract your friends. You distract, those around you. Troublemaker. Over and over again. These are the only words you hear. So what are you going to do? You're going to be the troublemaker.
Absolutely. That's self-fulfilling prophecy.
Absolutely. That's the steps. Usually you are labeled as or you are labeled as a certain characteristic. Then comes the self-fulfilling prophecy. Then comes the act. Right? So it's just like, someone's labeling you a troublemaker or a deviant. You accept that.
You internalize it.
Absolutely. And then you act that out, and, it may now in life, a lot of people may go through the labeling or may experience being labeled in other ways, which can be just as harmful, such as in a school setting. You know what, Brittney? You're never going to go to university. You know, Simone, you're not smart enough for university. I don't think.
No, they never said that to me.
Anyways, so Dia.
Just saying. That was never an issue.
It was, but for me, it was an issue. It was an issue.
I understand, but that's only because you were not in those at-risk
Exactly.
neighborhoods.
Calm down.
You were bougie. Oh my God, bougie.
Listen.
No, she punks me all the time for where I live and where I've been living, and then she's like, "Oh, we didn't experience that in my neighborhood."
So that's the whole thing.
And Scarborough doesn't count. So
Scarborough does count.
Back then, it didn't.
Scarborough counts. Markham
counts
Eglinton back then counted. Okay,
She barely blinked her eyes there, and she was in Mississauga.
I was like 16 years old. when I
Okay, that
left.
was like a blink.
Okay, Windsor.
Hold on.
Pardon?
Windsor in Detroit.
Hold on.
Windsor in Detroit, Brittney. Say something.
Hold on.
Windsor in Detroit.
Here's one of the things that I like about this theory, right? There's an importance for this theory which can be applied across the
Here
board.
comes the words of knowledge.
Right? Not just, of course, in a school setting, but of course now especially at home with parents and their children.
Yeah, this is important. Very true.
Right?
True.
Because, of course, we continue to go ahead and label these children and calling the children names and so on and so forth. Oh, you look like your father, your father,
You're just selfish. You're selfish like your father.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, these things, of course... Stop it. Right? Excuse me. These things, of course, now, right, play that much of an importance. I mean, words
are very strong.
They either harm or heal, right? And of course, by labeling something, of course, someone in a very negative manner, like we said, the propelling prophecy.
Self-fulfilling. What did you just say? Propelling?
Yes, the propelling.
I love
yes,
it.
The propelling prophecy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Right?
That's right.
It propel?
Yes, it does.
Because it go high.
It go high, yes, and fly.
Done.
Right, and then you have the action afterwards. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I like the importance of this one.
Yeah, it is. And there's a picture there, actually, Mr. Jordan, of, I think there's two of them, but there's one which I thought was very strong that you picked, Brittney. Yeah. It was just, well, Jordan's going to put it up for us.
Yeah.
But that just shows you the idea of how strong words can be and how brutal they can be. Like that's a very vivid image of what happens. And many of us walk around with these invisible labels on us, right? Yeah. And we can't get past them sometimes.
And we can even see it in like mainstream society, not just within a criminal standpoint of view. We can see it in, an everyday black woman's, their everyday world where they go into corporate, downtown corporate, work environment where they have to act a certain way because they don't want to be labeled as the angry black
woman. And if you have an opinion, don't have an opinion because then you're the angry black woman.
Absolutely. And it's very hard. I was reading an article about a lawyer who had not really had to quit her job, but there's a lot of things that she had to like really stop. She had to take a break away from where she was working because she realized that these labels that this firm was placing on her was unfair. And it was unfair to her work ethic and everything she was about. You know what I mean? She was just a lawyer. Why does she have to be an angry black lawyer? You know what I mean? So it's definitely hard being labeled, and labeling theory can definitely be applied to certain areas.
So many different areas.
Absolutely.
So when we come back, we're going to continue with certain different theories that have come up that affect us socially. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Absolutely. Welcome back, everybody. You know what it is? Because I'm trying to control, I'm trying to do everything. Listen.
Why don't you just put it, right there?
Because it doesn't catch. So listen, we are just making sure everyone knows what's going on. I just did a live video on Instagram. Now I'm doing one on Facebook. So for those who are able to watch or are watching now on Facebook Live, hopefully soon, they'll know to go to my TCN TV on YouTube, or you can go on Facebook. We're also on Periscope now as well.
Yes.
So you can find us a few places. And our topic today is social conditions and social condition theories, which are very important because it gives you an understanding and some background on basically your role in society, how you're living in society, and how you might be labeled, which is one of the theories, in society, and why you're labeled that way in society. So we started off with the social deconstruction theory.
Social disorganization theory. But you're close. She's close, guys.
Thank you, Jordan. Jordan's correcting my mistake.
You're close.
And then the labeling theory, which I got right.
Yeah.
Speaking about the labels that sometimes are given to us as a people, label given to people just period, labels that parents give to their children, and how these labels can be very devastating to an individual, to a society, to a culture.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
To a sex.
Absolutely.
Right? So let's move on to the next one. Unless, hold on, you know Dave likes to drop his words of wisdom. Anything else to say, Dave?
I have nothing.
You know nothing?
Nothing else, man.
All right.
Cool.
Next one, girl.
So this next one, I'm not gonna spend too much time on it as much as the other one I have prepared.
Okay.
But the routines activity theory.
Okay.
It just basically states that if you make yourself a target, crime, you will be victimized. So basically it follows that crime can be avoided, and if the target is attractive enough, a crime will happen. So
okay, you have to explain this.
So basically, for example, this is one of my favorites because in school, we were learning about this, and we were learning about, so let me just get back into the theory. So basically, if you're walking down the street at night carrying, I guess, $10,000 just flashing out of your purse at night, and you decide to walk down the alleyway, that's basically saying making you an attractive target. So if you decide to go down the alleyway with flashing money out of your purse, that's when a crime will happen. It's not because, a society is disorganized or because that individual was labeled and wants to rob you. It's just more so, you're just attractive for crime to happen around you.
Okay, could this be seen as victim blaming?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Because the first thing that came to mind when I thought of this is a woman.
Absolutely.
Right? Who people would say, well, if she with her being dressed like that, what did she expect? Of course you're going to get raped.
Absolutely.
Or you're going to get sexually assaulted. Or you're going to get whatever they're going to say. Like, so is it...
That's one of the weaknesses of this theory because it's really... So like I said, these theories are neither correct or incorrect, and there's definitely a lot of strengths and weaknesses with these theories, right? So they're not to be taken head on as an, I guess, explanation as to why crime happens, because they're definitely weak, and there have been more than one theorist to really apply their own take, on the routine theory, on the labeling theory.
What was your picture for this? I think it was like...
I don't think I could find a picture for this.
I think did she find a picture for this? No.
This was the one. It was... Okay, yes, I could. Yes.
This was hilarious.
But this is okay. This is... No, I needed you to understand this theory because, okay, so I want to tell you guys a story because I was in class and they have this theory and it says in order for a crime to be committed, there has to be a motivated offender, a suitable target, and a lack of, capable guardianship.
So you put Dave in front of a house?
Okay. Okay, so these are the 3 characteristics, but here's the funny thing. So as I opened the book...
I was gonna ask you to put back the picture so we can do a comparison. Okay,
really?
Can we do that?
I'm done.
You think you put it back up and give it a comparison?
Dave doesn't even look like Dave. Like, are you serious? I mean, he has like a nice round head. Hold on.
Yeah. I DM that man.
And he's not even wearing a black mask.
Hey, that's true.
It's green. You don't like black. Sorry, I'm being silly. Yeah, that's a hilarious picture to me.
But I wanted people to break down to understand the theory a little bit better, because in this part of this theory, there is this concept called effective guardianship. Okay. And as I was looking through my book, that I was using in my criminal law class, there was this picture of a neighborhood, and what effective guardianship is basically. Is there a
definition for that? There might be effective guardianship, just so people can see what that means. I believe there is. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it's the effective measures must be in place in order to prevent crime from happening. So this is more so on people like you and I. So Simone, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
So you move into a house. Okay. What are you gonna do to make sure you are safe?
Lock the door.
Exactly. What else are you let me ask you, Dave, what else are you going to do to
Buy
make
a
sure you're
dog.
safe, to make sure your possessions in your house are safe?
Get insurance.
Exactly. Some may get insurance. Some may put up cameras.
We don't know
Some
insurance.
may actually make sure that there's not a lot of trees or things blocking your house to make your house a
Buy a dog.
suitable target. So in this picture was a neighborhood that had so many trees, right? And they showed the before and after of what it looked like when they had all the trees blocking the houses compared to the after picture where when they cut down all the trees and it made the houses look more, attractive. Not to a person who wanted to rob those houses,
'Cause it's too
but
big.
it's too in the
It's too
open.
open.
And I took a look at those pictures. I'm like, I know that house. And I was like, that's my neighborhood. My God. That my neighborhood
Jungle.
was.
Allen and Lawrence. It's not jungle. Allen and Lawrence.
And you know what? I put 2 and 2 together because that when I first moved to that neighborhood, that was one of the reasons as to why, the explanations that my mother got as to why they called that jungle in the first place, because
right,
it had
because all
all
the
these trees
landscaping.
and,
Right.
and all this bush, and you could barely see the houses. And I think I grown accustomed to because it gave me a little bit of privacy. But now, as of like in the last 2 years, every summer you could hear them cutting and weed whacking and cutting down all the trees.
There's none left.
And I've always wondered, why are they cutting down all our trees? Like our houses are now out in the open now. And then I looked in the book and I was like, makes sense, because now they look at this neighborhood as a very criminal
at risk
neighborhood. So they want to decrease the amount of criminality or crime within this neighborhood
by making things more open,
out in the open,
so people can see more.
exactly.
What's going on. Okay.
So this is why this is where this theory comes from. It's not about the person or the neighborhood. It's just put the effective measures in place to make sure that you or your property is not an attractive place for crime or someone to be
A target. basically.
So,
target. Absolutely.
Can I give some examples? Kim Kardashian.
What a this is a very, very good example.
She put herself out there.
Some may argue many theorists.
But that's a good theory that I think would apply.
It
'cause
would
that's why
apply.
she got robbed. Let's be real. She was out there flashing her gold and flashing this and flashing
and
that.
she was targeted.
And she was targeted. And now, do you even hear? Where is Kim Kardashian? Do we even hear about
She's
her
still
anymore?
out there, but I'm pretty sure. I think I was listening to an interview done by her, maybe just from a magazine. I hear that she now alters how she doesn't really flash a lot of things like that like she used to. She's very not conservative, but she's very
Toned it
humbled.
down.
She's humbled by that experience, and
Getting
it's very
robbed will
unfortunate.
do that to you.
Yeah, it does, because that's the thing about getting robbed, is that somebody was targeting you before you even knew it. Somebody was watching you.
But would that apply to this theory?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
It absolutely can, because it states that criminals, and I hate that word, but it states that people will not choose to commit a crime in areas where they see that camera, or they don't see it all bushed up and dark, where they see that there's a dog. They're not gonna do that. They want the easiest target for them to get in and get out, get what they want.
All right. Rankin, what you have to say?
I find there's some holes in the routine.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
there's
think,
some holes
out
there.
of all three of them, I think this is the one that's probably the most debatable.
Definitely.
Because, I mean, I can understand, yes, you know what? I grew up in a neighborhood where, you know what, coming home from school, there'd be 30 men in the front of the building, right? And, of course, you know, if these grown men, if they soon dissipate and us as youngsters now begin to go and hang out in front of the building, that now makes us a target concerning, of course, this theory. Right. But at the same time now, for those of us, you know, who've taken those protective measures and so on and so forth, we still become a target regardless. Right. So it's up in the air in regards, of course, you know, my yay name regarding this theory. But at the same time, I mean, it is a social condition that I guess that, you know what, that we should now become aware of. Because, of course, if they're labeling, you know, types of like the types of crime, right, the reasons why crime are happening, right, and so on and so forth, then this is something that we need to do, to be aware of, so that we can now communicate better with our people, you know, begin to go ahead now and establish, you know, those measures in place, the now uplifting and building and so on and so forth.
And just making people be aware of certain things. Like, I think the number one issue with our community is ignorance. And I'm not saying it in a rude way. I'm saying, again, the word ignorance means not knowing.
Yeah.
Many of us just do not know. So I'm here to help you. We're going to let you know. Come back next segment.
Awesome.
Let's see if I can get on.
Discover the incredible India.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back, everyone, and again, Happy New Year. On our first show for Here to Help You this year, we're talking about social conditions. And of course, this year, one thing we want to get out to everybody is we want you as a community to be just as involved in this show as we are. We are here delivering the message, which is fine. But we need your input because, again, like nothing is built by ourselves. We need our foundation, and our foundation is the community.
Yes.
So we need you guys. Again, please comment. Anytime you have a comment or a thought or a critique, the only thing I have with critiques is if you're going to critique, come with a solution. Don't just come and say, I don't like it, because I'll cut you out. Like, I'll have to cuss you and tell you about yourself.
She won't cuss you. It's
No,
just
I will.
easier for you to come with a solution.
I will cuss. Don't
'Cause then-
talk for me. I will cuss.
Okay, I try to humble
Yeah, I
it,
know you
but
tried.
it's-
No,
okay.
no, because I don't like that. Come with a solution, something. Don't just come and critique me and tell you not like it. All right. So we have the lovely, voluptuous, extravagant Brittney Channer here. We grab her when we can. But today she's been talking about social conditions. We have one more to talk about. Let's go through the ones we have covered so far. If you're just joining us, you can go back to the last 3 segments and see them. So the very first one was called Social Disorganization Theory.
Very good.
The second one was, what? Jordan's helped me out today. The second one was the labeling theory.
Yes.
And our third theory was, I can't remember.
The third theory was the routine.
You put yourself out there, you get robbed.
Oh my god.
Theory.
Routine activity theory. And that's the one with the most holes, the most weaknesses,
The most
I
weakness is
think.
it. I call it you put yourself out there, you get robbed theory.
Okay.
Same thing though. All right, Miss Brittney, you continue. You wrap this up. Wrap up our first show of the year, please.
How would you like me to wrap it up?
You said you had one more theory.
Oh yeah, okay. So it's not really a theory, but it really explains why. So we've touched on why people, some theories as to why people choose to commit crimes, or some of the
Yes.
theories that are out there. But we never really touched on what prevents people from committing crime. And there's a theory called social bond theory, known
Okay.
as
I like this one.
Travis Hershey. And he basically stated that because individuals have strong social bonds with those around them, their family, their jobs, their schooling,
Their community.
These are all, things and institutions that prevent people from committing crime. I'm trying to go to law school. You know what I'm saying? Or you are trying to build this great business, right? You are not going to commit a crime that's going to damage that. You know what I mean?
No.
I'm not
gonna
going to
do
do
it.
anything that's going to, prevent me from, just interacting with my peers and making it easier for me to interact with my teachers and all that stuff, right?
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things or reasons why as to why we don't commit it, right? So that's a very good theory that I feel explains as to why people choose not to, because it's really
social bonding.
Exactly.
I like that. And you know what? It
strong
has
bonds.
it has proven that when family and community are involved, there are a lot less things that happen, especially with our young people. 'Cause that's where a lot of our problems are. Is with
Absolutely.
these young people. A lot of young people don't feel bonded to anybody or anything. A lot of
family.
people feel alienated in our community. A lot of people feel like they don't have anyone to talk to, and it's one of the reasons why, yes, instead of them creating positive bonds, they'll go out like gangs and stuff, like these gang affiliations and things like that. You have to understand what they offer. They offer bonding. They make you feel like a family. Am I wrong?
Absolutely.
That's why a lot of people, Dave, you look at me kind of strange. Am I wrong?
Not strange. I mean, you hear it in the everyday, right? You hear it in the music, especially. You hear it now, of course, in documentaries. You hear it, of course, in reality shows. I mean, you hear it all the time, right? I mean, and who was this gentleman who came up with this theory?
Travis Hershey.
Travis Hershey. And this is something that was traditionally rooted in, of course, the continent, where, of course, family, community, you had age group peers, right? You had age group mentorships, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, stuff like this now, it'd be less likely to happen in regards to, of course, the crime that coming out of this, from the lack of, right? And then, of course, with the displacement in regards to, which we've suffered, right? We've now integrated, accepted these things as everyday life. Right, so now, of course, these theorists, they'll say yes, they have possible reasons in regards to why they would come up with these theories now.
Okay, so again, if there's any questions, everyone, we want to thank you so much for being here. Brittney, thank you for coming in and finalizing the show for us and starting our year off so wonderfully. Obviously, we want to thank all of you. Keep watching, comment, like, share. Let's grow, let's bond, let's stop committing crime.
Yes.
Bye, guys.
Peace and love, family.